The nighttime air in our small town is usually serene, pierced only by the familiar chatter and tunes on my late-night radio show. Having been a radio DJ for years, I thought I'd seen, or rather heard, it all. That was until I received a mysterious call that sent a chill down my spine. It was around midnight when a listener, introducing himself as Sam, called in. He had a deep, chilling voice, like stones scraping together in the dark. I asked him where he was calling from, hoping for some friendly chat to fill the night. His reply made my heart drop. "I'm calling from the cemetery." Our town is small enough that I know every nook and corner, and there were no houses near the cemetery. I tried to laugh it off as a weird prank, but Sam's next words stopped me cold. He began describing my studio, the worn-out Beatles poster hanging crooked on the wall, the bright red on-air sign flickering slightly, the coffee mug with the broken handle I'd been using for years, even the hole in the elbow of my red sweater. My hand instinctively went to the hole. I'd forgotten about it until he mentioned it. Frantically, I checked the security cameras. The station was quiet. There was no sign of anyone around. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up as I responded to Sam, pretending everything was normal while battling a sense of dread. The calls kept coming every night, with Sam detailing my surroundings with an uncanny accuracy. He'd mentioned the record I had chosen for the next song, the sandwich I was eating, even the notes I scribbled down for the next day's show. The calls had a horrific consistency. Midnight, every night. No matter how much I searched, I never found Sam. I quit the job not long after, but even now, in the quiet of my own home, I feel as though Sam is still watching. My job as an art restorer usually brings me peace. I breathe life back into aged paintings, uncovering the stories hidden beneath layers of time and dust. The day an antique portrait of a 17th century noblewoman landed on my work table, I knew it would be an interesting project. The portrait was incredibly detailed. Her piercing blue eyes were captivating, giving a sense of life to the old canvas. But the more I worked on the painting, the more I felt an unsettling sensation. Those striking eyes seemed to follow me around the room. At first I shrugged it off, chalking it up to the artist's skill. But as days turned into weeks, I couldn't shake the feeling. One night, while working late, I heard a soft whisper, like the rustling of silk curtains. I spun around, but I was alone in the studio. When I looked back at the portrait, the noblewoman's previously neutral expression had transformed into a knowing smirk. As the days went on, she began to invade my dreams. In the stillness of the day, when I was alone in my studio, I'd hear faint whispers, like someone murmuring a secret. Sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I would catch a glimpse of a figure in 17th century attire. When the restoration was complete, I was relieved to send the portrait back, but her presence lingered. Even now, I occasionally feel her eyes on me, her whispers in my ear, her figure dancing in my peripheral vision. The noblewoman in the portrait continues to be a haunting presence in my life. I've worked hundreds of cases, some more gruesome than others, and vice versa. I worked for the Ravenwood Police Department for 28 years, but that all changed on June 20th, 2019. I, Detective Jason Anderson, resigned from my position following the brutal murder of the entire Wilson family. I was sitting across the table from a 9-year-old girl. Her innocence and obliviousness to life's hardships are apparent. But this particular child is different. Silent and motionless, she refuses to touch the food and drink placed in front of her. The soggy chicken nuggets and fries remain untouched on the plate. As a sense of unease settles in, I lean back in my chair, my gaze shifting between my hands and the unresponsive girl. I lean forward onto the table and look at my hands on top of the case file. I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what to do for this whole interrogation. In my 28 years on the force, I have never encountered a child who reacts like this after witnessing a death. Normally, they either plead for their loved ones to return or sit in silence, trying to comprehend the tragedy. But this girl is different. She is expressionless, yet her eyes hold a mystery I cannot decipher. I decided to finally break the silence. "Miss Wilson, can you tell me your full name?" She doesn't move or try to talk. I sigh. "Miss Wilson, I carefully think about what to say next. Your family is gone. Do you understand the gravity of the situation? Your family is dead. And if you don't talk, we won't be able to find the killer, wherever they may be. She finally breaks her vow of silence and whispers, "They aren't far." I'm startled by this. She hasn't said a word since we arrived at the crime scene 8 hours ago. After a second, I recollect myself. What was that? She finally looks at me, but this time her blank eyes have a smile paired with it. My name is Janice. I open the case file and look at her name. Janice Wilson? She frowns. Wilson is not my real last name. I'm adopted. I look back down at the case file to confirm this with her. I take a breath to say something, but Janice beats me to it. They never considered me family, but they made the world believe it. I'm stunned, because from all the time I knew the Wilsons, they gave her unconditional love. I speak up. What do you mean they made the world believe it? A tear goes down Janice's face. I'll tell you, Jason.